Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading Corporation, and you are tuned into our podcast, The Secret War on Cash. For those of you who are subscribed to our channel, welcome back. And for those of you who are brand new, welcome. I am going to bring my co-host on here, Chris Agelastos. There he is. Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you.
I'm glad to hear that. Just getting over, our last podcast was on your 50th birthday. So now you're 50 in a few days. So you're
I've survived.
You survived. You're getting wiser by the day. And we talked about this before, but they say with age comes wisdom. And then we also talked about before that we've actually met some people who are aged and they didn't seem so wise. But I think you are not necessarily an exception. You exemplify that as you age, you get wiser.
Well,
How
thank
about
you. But
that?
I was going to trade it in for with age comes beauty. Could I get some of that?
Yeah,
I'll give up some of the wisdom.
you better just stick with the wisdom. Stay on that path. I'm doing the same. Just you want the wisdom. You don't care about beauty.
All right,
All
fair
right,
enough.
well, let's talk some money stuff. The reason that I picked this topic here today, Chris, we talked about cryptos and cyber cash, cyber currency, that type of thing a lot.
Yeah.
And, it's the reason I wanted to share this article in particular. Crypto has become like very commonplace, kind of just the norm. In fact, like a lot of times in my office, I'll have CNBC on, and they talk about it quite a bit. I mean, like just very matter of fact, it's here. But I want you to think, and for those tuned in, I want you to kind of think about something. So there's 158. Oh, I should have done this before. Is it 158 billion? Yeah,
Billion,
100,
yeah.
158 billion of illicit crypto transactions triggered in 2025, shattering the record, according to the Daily Huddle here.
Hmm.
Now, when they say shattering the record in 2024, that number was 64 and a half billion.
Yep.
Okay, does that sound right? Yes.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I mean, when you have these type of things happening with crypto, it's not like a problem with your brokerage account or your bank where you just call someone, talk it over, figure out
Sure.
what's going on and get your money back, ideally speaking. You don't there's no customer service to this. There's no one you're going to call and talk to and iron this problem out. So that's number one. Number two, you're talking a
Yeah.
lot of money here. I mean, you're
Hmm.
talking, you know getting getting towards the upward ends of a few $100 billion in just 2025 alone.
Yeah.
And to me, what's of pretty big concern is like they're wanting us, like there are powers that be out there that are wanting us to just kind of be thrust into this whole digital cash crypto world. And
Yeah.
but yet more often than not, we're reading something or seeing something that's talking about things like this where money evaporates or it's lost out of thin air, or there's illicit, as they say, crypto transactions occurring.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. Like for instance, if you have a brokerage account, if you have a bank account, even like take physical gold and silver, part of the peace of mind that comes with that is knowing nothing's not in this world is probably ever per se 100%, especially in the financial world, but in the high 90 some odd percentile, what you have and where it's at, and with some comfortable reliability, it's going to be there if you go to look for it. And that's
Yep.
not the case with this. So I don't. It's always kind of been amazing and somewhat interesting to me that people have been really embracing crypto like they have, because it just the vulnerability with it, the risk just doesn't seem to match up with reward, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I generally embrace, advancements in technology. I love all the things that I can do on my iPhone, for example. Now, even down to just being able to, FaceTime with my kids while they're in school. The ease at which we can do certain transactions, things like that. At the same time, when it comes to my money, which money isn't easy to come by, right? You have to work hard. Hope you can get ahead a little bit, set it aside for a rainy day. When that rainy day comes, hope you have something there to be able to help you through a medical emergency or a housing crisis or something like that. So our money is very important to us and our way of life. And that's one area where I just don't love too much technology.
Right.
I don't trust it. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't have a little bit of crypto, because I kind of wanted to see how it works, right? So I dabbled a little bit, but it's fun money. I look at it like a lottery ticket. If I go spend $10 on a lottery ticket, if I win, great. If I don't, I expected to lose it. That's kind of how my little teeny bit of crypto is. But
Sure.
I'm with you. I think younger generations maybe are a little more trusting of it than people like me in their 50s and older. But there are still a lot of people in our generation that are embracing it, and I think a lot of people too. It's been sold to them as this way where maybe they can get rich quick. You can put some money into crypto and it's going to grow 100-fold, because there were examples of that early on. However, the odds of future examples with it as high now, I think it's in the 90 to $95,000 range for like Bitcoin, for example, right now. I don't think that's going to grow 100-fold like maybe it did when you can buy it for 10 cents. So yeah, I don't love it, and that's why too. The other side of it is, like they're talking here, illicit transactions, in addition to fraud and being hacked, and people hacking your system and then forcing you to pay a crypto ransom that can't be tracked. You also have countries like Russia, they talk about here, and other nations that have, like Iran, that have financial sanctions on them, using crypto networks to move funds that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. So I just feel like there's a lot of negative and a lot of downsides. Not to say the whole thing is bad, but I'm going to be slow to really trust anything like my real savings or my retirement to cryptocurrencies.
No, I'm with you on that. I agree. And what the question I actually would have on it, like, and we've covered this, and we've seen it actually, where there's been insurance companies and banks, various financial institutions that they have been hacked.
Yeah.
And when that happens, like, they come out and they say, we were hacked, this is what's going on. Ideally speaking, I think, let's just be optimistic. They make good on it, they get it all figured out, etc. Like, I'm not aware of, and maybe it does exist, but there's nothing like that in the crypto world. So, like, what I'm getting at is, like, when these hacks occur, like, I would believe that it's kind of incumbent upon the holder of that crypto, where they would have to be checking their account or something. Otherwise, they really wouldn't know that it's gone, because I don't
Yeah.
believe you're getting any kind of an alert like that. And then again, that presents the other problem. Even when you find out it is gone, who are you calling? Like, who are you going to
What do
talk
you
to?
do? Yeah, there's
Right.
no protections available like we're used to with, say, our
Well,
credit card.
exactly. And then the other question, one of the things that's touted so heavily with cryptos is that, the privacy of it, and how, it's very nondescript and discreet, et cetera, et cetera. If that's the case, how do they know how much money was stolen in the first place? Like, how are they keeping
Right.
track of that?
Yeah.
It's all a mystery to
Any
me. I mean, it seems like the more you talk about crypto, the more answers that you think you have. All it does is, like, generate like 5 or 10 other questions.
That's right. More mystery behind it, less answers.
And I'm sure there's people tuned in who think, hey, maybe me, I'll take the blame, that ignorant and that don't understand it better.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, it literally seems like, again, the more you learn about it, the more it's like, well, hold on a sec, wait a tick, what about this? What about that? All right,
Yep.
so we'll continue to watch that. It's a lot of money that someone lost, and hopefully they get it back. But
Yep.
my situation. I can't I lost money in my crypto account. I can't figure out how to get it back, and it doesn't look any too promising that that's going to change anytime soon. All right, so the next one. Let's talk about a happy subject. It's not really happy, but this out of Watcher.guru, we've got BRICS plan to move from 50% to 65 or 70% global control in 2026. So here's the thing, like the reason I brought this one up is because is all this stuff, like take crypto and take all the stuff that's going on now with Trump and Powell, and we got all this noise taking place, and yet it just seems like everything we hear, BRICS is just gaining steam and momentum and making positive moves left and right. And
Yep.
now, by securing a greater percentage of global gold control, that's why are they doing that? Same reason central banks are buying gold, same reason institutions buy gold. They know that if you're going to have, a strong skeleton, we'll say that backbone is metal.
Yep.
And it seems like, and again, we've mentioned this before, the United States, you don't hear of anything with us in terms of how we're expanding or growing our gold positions. We have what we have, and to be clear, from what it's been told, we have pretty substantial gold holdings. However, when you hear about what these other nations are doing, we have substantial gold holdings right up until the point that we do not, and it just does not
Right.
seem as though this is at the forefront of what we're doing here in the US in terms of strengthening our economy.
Yeah. Well, and even though we have those holdings, those gold holdings, supposedly, it doesn't appear to be publicly audited. So we're sort of trusting the government to or agencies within the government to make sure that it's there and not to lie to us, which increasingly becomes more and more difficult to do, which trusting the government these days. So yeah,
I love how you
it's
hesitated to even say that.
I'm trying to be glasses half full, but it's hard in this case.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think. I mean, I think Russia and China they're very old school, and I mean, even though obviously they've embraced technology, but I think they really understand that this is a marathon and not a sprint, and they know that a solid way to take over control from the West is through gold holdings. And it's not hard to imagine that they're going to be able to go from 50 to 65 or 70%. I mean, that's not that big of an increase. They've, as we've seen in many articles over the last couple of years, they're being very aggressive about purchasing metal through their central banks. They're also continuing to produce and mine a large amount of gold in their own nations, and they're restricting how much of that gets to leave their countries. So,
Right.
with those variables in place, it's pretty easy to see how in just maybe a few years' time, they could have 65, 70, 75% control over the world's gold reserves, and that's something real that has had value for thousands of years. So I think they are content to be patient and do this the right way and slowly. And it doesn't mean that they're not, messing with digital currencies and getting into cryptos and blockchain technology and that stuff too. But they're really backing it up with a solid, I would say, a solid plan B. If one way doesn't work, we know the gold and silver is going to. And by bringing in more and more nations, that's the other thing. They're bringing more people into the BRICS alliance.
Yeah.
People being nations, and those nations come in with their gold reserves, and the bulk of them have been trying to acquire more as well. So we definitely have a lot of nations in the world working against us, in the sense that they want to take away control from the United States and their partners, and have a bigger influence over how we do things in the world.
Right. Well, and let's keep in mind as well, like all this is happening at the same time where BRICS, the BRICS alliance, and even maybe not even full on participants of BRICS nations, but let's just say sympathizers to the BRICS cause or move
Hmm.
are de-dollarizing. They're dumping U.S. dollars, et cetera. So like, it's
Yeah.
kind of a double whammy. They're beefing up their gold. We're seemingly not, and they're dumping our dollars, which is just
Hmm.
creating not potentially. It will ultimately create even greater problems for us. So,
Yeah.
all right, Chris. Well, that's enough good news for one day. We got crypto
Enough
covered,
uplifting
and
news.
we've got BRICS buying all the gold out there. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. And if you're subscribed to this podcast, we're glad you're back. And if you're not subscribed, please do so we can talk to you more in the future. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Take care.